I used to absolutely hate windy days, but now I know that it just means cheap electricity. So we've been on Octopus's Intelligent Go tariff for almost a year. So I thought now would be a good time to tell you all about it, how you set it up, and why you might feel a little bit naughty. So first of all, I'm going to do the usual YouTube thing and just say, please subscribe and like the video. If you do, that would be amazing, and it really helps make this a full-time thing, which would be lovely. So although I've done a short about Intelligent Octopus Go, I haven't done a proper full-length video. And I'm getting more and more comments and views on some really old videos I did back when we were in the previous house actually, in the centre of Canterbury. We had Octopus Go back then, not Intelligent Go. And I did some talking about smart meters, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a good time for a follow-up, especially as we're going to be leaving this house soon, and now feels like a natural point to do this video. So let's start with the basics. So this is what it says on the Octopus website. Intelligent Octopus Go is the UK's most popular EV tariff. Automatically charge your car when it's cheapest and get super low smart charging rates plus 6 hours of cheap energy for your whole home every night. What does it mean in practice, and why is it good? You may not know it, especially if you read a lot of stuff on social media. We have a lot of renewables on the grid in the UK, and on a day like this is quite windy, and it's actually a bit of sun as well. It should be cheap electricity. Renewables are cheaper than burning gas or coal. So Octopus are able to give you a big discount on electricity if you're using electricity when it's cheap, and of course that means when there's lots of renewables.
So it means that when you plug in your car, if the grid is green enough, you'll get off-peak rates, not just for your car, but for your whole house. So that's 7 pence per kilowatt hour.
And we've really saved some money on it. I'm sure there are other really good energy companies that might do similar things, I don't know, but I think this tariff is fairly unique in the UK. So I'm just going to concentrate on this tariff. I'm not an Octopus energy shill, honestly. So how does it work? Firstly, you need a smart meter. If you talk to Octopus, they will install a smart meter if you need one. Secondly, you need an electric car, and you do need a car charger like this. So just a handful of chargers work with this. That's because it needs to do something clever in the background, and the charger needs to talk to Octopus, vice versa. So I believe currently it only works with Zappi, Omi, and Wallbox. I think they're the only three, but if you go onto the website, you can check. If you don't have a supported charger, then don't panic, because over 280 electric cars also work with this. I imagine most people that drive an electric car, somewhere or another, will be able to use this. Now, I can only use the charger because it's not supported on the Leaf and it's not supported on the Kia e-Niro that we've got. Thankfully, we've got a Zappi, which is a brilliant charger, so it works fine with this. So this is how you set it up.
Firstly, go onto the Octopus website and check your eligibility. Next, you need to make sure you are an Octopus customer, so use my referral link on the screen, and we both get £50. Thank you very much if you do that. And provided you're an Octopus customer, have a smart meter and are eligible, download the Octopus app.
When you go to the Octopus app, there's a little button at the bottom that says Devices, and you can set it all up on there.
You go to Devices and then Add Device. Plug in your car and disable any charge timers you may have set, and also make sure that there are no charging limits set that may prevent it from charging. My initial setup was back in December 2023, and although I filmed that, things have changed with the app and it'll just confuse you. But follow the instructions and you'll find it's all quite simple.
You may have seen that I've got the Nissan Leaf here. The e-Niro is not on the drive at the moment. So it will work. Once you set it up, it will work on any other EVs that you plug into. But if you have multiple EVs, I would say it's best to use the one that has the larger battery when you set it up. If I click on Devices, you'll see there that it says a charging plan will be made shortly after you plug in, and it says charge to add. I've got 100% set, ready by time 11 in the morning, so that will be 11 tomorrow morning. You can also see it says there need to charge now, and there's a little link that says bump charge. Bump charge is if you don't want to wait for this to do its charging plan and you just want to charge now. Press bump charge and you'll get a charge, but it will obviously be at the more expensive rate. What happens then with this is you plug your EV in, and once you do that, you get a notification on your phone from the Octopus app, and that tells you when it's going to start charging. That's going to work out schedule, and it will tell you. So this is telling me that it will start at 14:32, which is now, and it'll stop at 4 p.m, carry on at 9:30 in the evening, and so on until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Of course, I've just plugged in a Nissan Leaf that has a tiny battery, so actually it's going to be finished probably around 4 p.m, actually, because it's done through the charger. Chargers don't know the battery percentage of the car. So in this case, actually, it's going to be finished way before that. So if you do it through the charger, remember that Octopus doesn't actually know your battery percentage. So saying I want 100% by 9 in the morning doesn't really mean anything, really. So just bear that in mind. And I also wonder whether it's better to set it up through the charger if you can, rather than the car, for that exact reason, because you're probably getting more cheaper rate electricity doing it that way than you would do ordinarily. And I say that because if it knew what battery percentage I had in the Leaf, which I think is about 50% at the moment, then it wouldn't have started charging until much later in the day. As it is, it assumes that I might have 0%, so it started now. Hopefully that makes some sense. But that is also why it feels like you're gaming the system. It's why I said in my intro it feels a bit naughty. But I suppose I could be honest and I could say charge to add and I could make that much less. But to be honest, I don't want to be doing that every single time I go to the app. One thing to bear in mind is obviously this is linked to the app. So if you have more than one person in the house that drives the car, then you would each need the Octopus app with the same login, of course, just so the other person can bump charge if they really need to. In our case, my wife doesn't have the app, and so she does just rely on me doing all this kind of stuff. Because I have it set to 100%, I actually find that almost every time I plug in during the day, it does just start charging immediately. For us, in our situation, that's meant that it's been really, really good for our builds, especially as our whole house runs on electricity. We don't have any gas at all for our heating. We've got the heat pump. At the moment it's not turned on, but in the winter it would be turned on, and if I was charging, that obviously makes that quite cheap, doesn't it? But obviously this is just predicated on there being lots of renewables on the grid. That's not always the case, and in fact sometimes in winter you have pretty dull days with cloud and no wind. So in that case you're not going to get cheap charging during the day. So as I keep saying, it really is amazing that you get cheap electricity for the whole house when you plug in the car. If we look at a bill from the 9th of February, you can see what I mean. The house gets the cheap electricity at the same time the car is charging. So you can see a kind of a flat line going across and then down and then up again and then down at the peak rate. So you can see the bars coming up for the kilowatt hours used. So you can see that obviously we're charging the car. And then that stops when it gets to kind of dinner time, and then it starts up again. So let's talk about the tariff. This is the rate for the southeast of England. It's going to be different all over the place, but I'm just giving you my rate.
So I'll give you the night rate and the day rate, but obviously you'll get the night rate even in the daytime if you plug in, if there are lots of renewables on the grid. So the night rate is between 11:30 at night and 5:30 in the morning, and that's 7 pence per kilowatt hour. And the peak or day rate is 26.77 pence per kilowatt hour, and you get a standing charge of 55.79 pence a day.
So the tariff we were on, Octopus Go, the day rate is the same, but the night rate is 8.5 pence, and it's for 5 hours, so one less hour. I alluded to it a little bit with that bill, but we changed to Intelligent Octopus Go on the 30th of November 2023, and it is the 18th of September 2024 now. It hasn't been a full year, and I really wish I could give you a full year, but I just can't, as I say, because we're moving anyway. And also because Octopus haven't billed me since the 6th of March. So I only just noticed when I was preparing for this video. I've emailed them, and their support is very good, and they have emailed back, and they're looking into it. So I can only actually give you 1 month, annoyingly. I'm sorry about that. Now, it's possible I could dig into their data on their website and get all this information, but I just don't have time. They do have an API. If you're a bit of a geek like me, then you will know what an API is. It means that you can get all the information you could possibly want and do whatever you want with it. And just that's amazing that Octopus have that. And as I said, we have no gas, so this is all electricity. That means it's the heat pump, the immersion for the water tank, which is set just to go at night. Rarely during the day, but it does happen sometimes. Hob, oven, and of course 2 cars. So the big question, the part that you'll probably want to skip to if you're watching this from the beginning, but the big question is it cheaper than normal Go? So let's look at 2nd of February to the 1st of March 2023. When we were on normal Octopus Go, we used 1,139.9 kilowatt hours, and that was a cost of £308.32. Quite a lot, but remember, heat pump, winter, okay, and 2 electric cars. So fast forward 1 year on, and we're now on Intelligent Go. We use 1,219 kilowatt hours, so more energy, and that cost £268.97. And that's actually with a higher standing charge, because the standing charge went up, and more electricity. So that's £49.62 cheaper for that 1 month, despite a higher standing charge and 80 kilowatt hours more electricity used. I would love to know how much it saved us over the year, and it kills me that I can't work it out. So the other big question, of course, is how much have we spent on fueling the e-Nero? To fully charge the e-Nero, for instance, that's £4.48 off-peak. And when we had Octopus Go, that off-peak was obviously, as I said, that was just the 5 hours at night. But now, all bets are off. It could be in the daytime, it could be at night, it could be any time, really, when there's enough renewables on the grid. So yeah, £4.48 to charge the e-Nero, which gets you 280 to 320 miles of range, in my experience. I'm not taking into account our solar panels, because we do have solar, and that's obviously going to make things a bit cheaper, but I'm not going to mention that. Looking at the period after we joined Intelligent Go, and I'm going to ignore the Leaf, I'm just going to concentrate on the Nero. This is very rough maths, okay? £126 to drive 8,400 miles. Pretty amazing, really. And just to say, by the way, if you add the rapid charges into it, that's £216.24 for 8,855 miles driving the Nero. So obviously it's crazy that we spent £36 more to drive 455 miles than we did to drive 8,400 miles. That's what you get if you can charge at home. It's a luxury, really. If you're watching this and you're on Intelligent Octopus Go or any other tariff, in fact, then say what you've saved, because really, that kind of thing is really useful for anyone trying to decide what tariff to go on or what energy provider to go on. That kind of thing, the cold hard numbers is what people want. Looking at that, I've got to say that for us it's made financial sense. As I said, I can't compare one year to another year, but I've no reason to think that it'd be any different to that 1 month. And yes, and of course it's just so good knowing that the house has cheap electricity when we plug the car in. So tell you what we tend to do, I tend to do it, not my wife so much. When we plug the car in, and I know it's charging in the middle of the day, then we'll do the dishwasher, we'll do the washing machine, clean the oven, do the oven cleaning cycle that is quite energy intensive, of course, and pretty much anything else, charge batteries, whatever else, you know. I've got some caveats then with this. It benefits you much more if you have a car with a larger battery. So the e-Nero has a 64 kilowatt hour battery. That's quite big, really. It's almost 3 times as big as the Leaf's battery. So the bigger the battery, of course, the more you can game the system, I suppose, a little bit by doing little charges in the middle of the day just to top it up. So, and obviously if you do have a car with a big battery and you drive it a lot, if you're someone that commutes a lot, which I'm not, then you can also find that it works really well for you, because you'll deplete more of the battery, and then of course you charge up more, and as you're charging more, the house is getting more cheap electricity as well. Now in their terms and conditions, it does say about fair use. So just bear that in mind. Now I think doing it as I'm doing, and always having it set to 100% charging by the next morning, maybe that is gaming the system, I don't know. But frankly, I don't know how it can work any other way working through a charger. As I said, the charger doesn't know the battery state of charge for the car. So it's possible I should use the app, and I should be being more realistic and saying, yeah, just add 20% and all that. But that's just hassle, isn't it? I mean, why should I have to know what battery percentage is and then set it in the app? So I'm not going to do that. Maybe Octopus will watch this video and tell me off, but hopefully not. So will we stay on it? At the moment, I would say yes, but when we move house, the place that we're moving to doesn't have a heat pump, but it does have, in fact, it doesn't have any gas, but it does have electric radiators, which are incredibly inefficient. So I don't know what we're going to do then. It's possible that moving to Agile, where it goes up and down all the time, but it could be cheaper, more consistently cheaper during the day, that might work better for us. So I might stay with this tariff and then perhaps change to Agile and then try to give you a bit of a comparison. But I'll see what happens when we move house. I'll do a video about that. At the moment, just to say that Agile, the average price for the month of September is 19.2 pence per kilowatt hour. So actually that does mean that it's cheaper than the peak rate of 24.45 for Intelligent Go, but it feels like more of a gamble. And that's September. Once it gets into winter, then when there's not as much solar and not even as much wind sometimes, then we'll see what happens with Agile. And I imagine then it all starts to go up, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Hopefully that's given you enough to think about. Do ask me any questions in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and please press the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of other videos. If you subscribe to the channel and you become a member, massive thanks from all of us. Hopefully one day I can do this full time and I can stand in the sun filming myself instead of sat in front of a computer looking at APIs that I don't really understand. Thank you very much, and I'll be back very soon. Bye for now.